Hey everyone, so I'm back today to talk about some interesting weather that the Midwest and the Great Lakes region and even parts of the Deep South have experienced pretty much for the month of July. I know it's the middle of summer and everything, but it feels like fall outside for quite a few areas, including Minneapolis, Chicago, Green Bay, Milwaukee, going over to Detroit, Cleveland, even parts of the Deep South like Memphis, Chicago, St. Louis, Kansas City. Places have been seeing pretty much below average temperatures for the past month and everything. And this is the reason why. Our jet stream, which is usually up into Canada, has kind of made a couple dips pretty much for the past like 4 to 6 weeks and everything. And with these dips, we obviously get the cold fronts that sweep on through, and with that we also get, some of the showers and a bit of thunderstorms along that cold front, especially going into the eastern part of the country where it's a bit more unstable with more warmer, humid conditions and everything. But pretty much behind the cold fronts, it's been feeling a lot of fall-like, and a lot of even, stuck in the, 60s and 70s only for highs. Mind you that Minneapolis is average high for this time of year for the end of July going into August, which is where we typically see the highest temperature averages during the year, because after the sun angle hits on the 21st of June, it takes about a month and a half for those temperatures to max out for the summer, and then after that they start gradually decreasing. So this time of year we're expected to see averages in the low to mid 80s in places like Minneapolis, Chicago, and for the Great Lakes region. However, we've been only stuck in the 60s and 70s because of the jet stream. It's been dipping down quite frequently over the past month or so, and unfortunately it's going to be doing that in coming into the beginning of August and everything. Today is the 31st, so obviously tomorrow starts the new month and everything. So going for an outlook here, most places are going to experience some cooler weather still. However, we are going to see a gradual warm-up coming into most of the latter part of August for the Midwest and everything. We are still expected to see some of the cooler air come down from Canada and everything, and it can even go down into the Ohio River Valley, parts of the South, and going over into the Mid-Atlantic states as well. So if you live anywhere in those areas, you could expect to see cooler than average temperatures coming in for the first half of August and everything. And I know it's not, summer-like at all. People have been calling it July-tober because some of the high readings, like in the 60s, Chicago only hit like a high of 68 a few days ago. That's what you typically normally see in October, not July. This is way, way, way much cooler than what we expect to see in July and everything. Nothing like fall foliage has definitely not started popping up anywhere, mainly because the overnight temperatures have still been in the 50s and everything. You still need about a week, 2-3 weeks of actually 60s, for highs and 40s for lows to actually start seeing that, fall pop and everything. And the sun angle is still pretty high in the sky, so we're not going to start seeing any color just yet. Give it about like 3, maybe 4 more weeks to a month, and we'll start seeing some of the fall the fall scenes start to pop up and everything in the Midwest. But unfortunately for the first part of August, expect to see a couple more cold fronts drop through. With that, we might have a shower or two, but relatively staying very not humid at all, and we are going to see those temperatures stay in the 60s and 70s. We will rebound some days coming into this weekend. We are expecting to see temperatures closer to average, about 80 degrees in Minneapolis. The higher plains and everything, a bit warmer highs are going to be in the lower to mid 80s coming up into the weekend. But still, places in the Great Lakes region you're socked in, unfortunately, with the cool weather. Not good, especially if you go boating out on the lakes and everything. If you have summer cottages, summer homes, it doesn't feel like summer. And I know that summer is coming to an end very quickly, unfortunately, and it just hasn't felt like that pretty much for the past month. So, unfortunately, like I said, we'll still get some starts of cooler air, but eventually, toward the end of August, which is pretty much, the end of summer, coming into this part of the country, we are expected to rebound closer to average high temperatures. Now, the average high temperatures in the latter part of the month of August are pretty much in the upper 70s to close to 80 degrees. So, not a huge warm up. expected, but expected to be closer to average. The places that are going to see pretty much cooler below average are going to be places going down to the Tennessee, Ohio River valleys, and going down to the deep south for the month of August. We've been just socked in with all this rain and unsettledness, and it's going to continue pretty much for the entire month. So temperatures slightly below average expected in the deep south going into the Ohio River Valley. The rest of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, you could see a toss of, both above average, below average, or, flat out average temperatures and everything. Washington, D.C. is one of those places, including Baltimore and Philly, where for the month of August, for most of the part, about average, maybe slightly below average, but going into the end of August, we're expected to strengthen a high over the Atlantic Ocean, and that's going to actually pump in more Atlantic moisture, which is going to bring back the showers and thunderstorms again, unfortunately. But it is supposed to also, with the area of high pressure and everything, obviously, if you get the sun and everything, places are going to warm up dramatically. So places in the Northeast and even New England, at the end of August, we could be dealing with maybe another heat wave or something coming into the third, fourth week of August and everything. So places in the Northeast and everything, not expected to see much cooler average conditions. Recently, it's been pretty much on par with average temperatures and everything. But going into the latter part of August, we are expecting to see another warm-up due to a building area of high pressure off the Atlantic coast. Unfortunately, though, it's going to keep pretty much a flow of tropical moisture coming into, the deep south. So with the showers and cloudiness pretty much almost every single day going into those places down in the south, unfortunately, the temperature situation is going to be slightly cooler than average. If you really want the heat, though, go over to the west. The west is where it's at, people, because the west is pretty much high and dry. That's pretty much it. There's really no rain, really. There's a couple of showers and thunderstorms popping up in the Four Corners region, and Seattle and Portland might get a rain shower or two, but honestly, it is quite warm. If you want the warmth and everything, go out to the west and everything. Go exploring somewhere in like the Great Salt Lake Basin, or Yosemite National Park, Yellowstone and everything, or even go over to like LA. You could go over to Las Vegas, go to the Grand Canyon. Very, very, very warm conditions and staying pretty much dry and sunny for the month of August and everything. Like I mentioned in my last video, pretty much the West is going to be staying pretty good for the month of August. But unfortunately, we have just been seeing those dips in the jet stream, and it's been keeping temperatures cool in the Midwest, and it's been feeling a lot more like fall than it actually has been feeling like summer. So, any relief in sight? A little, not drastically. We're not going to see a huge heat wave here in the Midwest and the Great Lakes region, but eventually we'll get back to closer to average at the end of August. You just have to pretty much hold tight for the first week or so, and then things should improve. I will be back again this weekend with another video about pretty much all the rain that's been happening, record amounts of rain that have been going on in places like Philadelphia, Boston, going down into even Florida and Georgia, where they've seen record amounts of rain as well. I'll just give you a nice video on some of that. Until next time, remember to keep your eye to the sky, and places that, are hot and everything, stay cool, and if you live in one of the cool places, try to find a warm place. Yes.